What's up, super fans? My name is Zay, and Elio came out recently and I absolutely loved it. I wanted to make a video talking about it, but I felt like there needed to be something else there. I don't know if it's just my need to gamify something or if I just like putting things in little boxes, but I figured it'd be a lot of fun to try to rate Elio against all the other like post-COVID Pixar movies. So first off, I want to do this in chronological order. So we're going to be starting with Onward. Onward was a weird one, right? This was like the first, I think, streaming only release during COVID. And I remember feeling like I was primed to like this movie. At the time, my friends and I were running a D&D campaign. Chris Pratt being in the movie wasn't a meme yet. And Tom Holland, I mean, Tom Holland's great. I don't think that it had anything special going on, you know? I will give it that the story of grief was great. Leg Dad was awesome. I remember there were so many people that were like attracted to Leg Dad. Hilarious. I just don't really think it vibed for me. So let's see what we would rate it. I would say that Onward, as of right now, we'll revisit this a little bit later, but I would say it's like right in the middle. I feel like it's perfectly fine. All right, now let's move on to the next movie. We have Soul. Soul was another one of these releases that released in home, but man, I thought Soul was great. But I don't think that a lot of people like Soul, which I was very surprised about. I think that there were two things that primed me on this. I was pretty freshly in college. I'm also at this time super confused existentially, like what kind of stuff I believe in, and having something that explored both purpose and like an afterlife in a fun way was definitely something I was primed to receive. But I just really like Soul. I think the story was really sweet. I think that the characters were great. I think the world that it created was great. I don't know if I would give Soul a spectacular, but I'm gonna give it an above average. I think that all the elements that they had were strong, especially comparing it to something like Onward. I think that it had a little something special compared to it. All right, next one we're gonna do is Luca. Easy, immediately S. Luca is my favorite Pixar movie in general. I just love it. On the surface level, it's pretty. I know that a lot of people don't agree with this, but I really like this art style. My least favorite people online are the people that complain about this Cal Arts style. It was one big tweet. Now I'll put the picture up here because, like, yes, art styles are a fad. You know, the 90s had like that gross out aesthetic. The earliest cartoons had that like rubber hose thing. It comes in and out. It's fine. That's what happens. You don't have to like an art style. You don't have to like a fad, right? But the part that gets me is that these people say that they're just entirely bad in general, right? That it's uncreative, it's repetitive, it's derivative. I don't agree. I don't agree with that. That'd be like saying that there's no originality in Cuphead because Mickey Mouse cartoons existed before. That's obviously not true. But my point is, Luca adapted that kind of Cal Arts 2D style into a 3D world. I just feel like they perfectly translated the look they were going for. And then the story itself was great. I remember I watched it and I actually cried. There's something really sweet to me about this story just being like finding a support system, seeing what love feels like. It just really stuck with me. I've watched it multiple times now. It's one of the movies I put on if I can't sleep kind of a thing, you know, and I just think it's great. Also, we had a Luca video here on the channel that did really well. It was about like going over the post credits. Basically during the credits they have like things that happened afterwards, and I like noted them all down. It was really fun. It was exciting. There should be a card up here somewhere. Make sure to watch that. That was fun. Anyway, Luca's going top tier for me. I absolutely love that. All right, then next up we have Turning Red. I really enjoyed this story and I felt like it took a big creative swing with her being able to turn into like an animal and all that, and it being familial. Like it's really cute. It gave me the same vibes as like the 13th Year, and then it became this story about love and generational trauma and friendship. I just thought that it was really sweet. I definitely would say that this is way above average, so I'm gonna give it an A. I don't think I would put it an S because I didn't have the same like emotional attachment to it, but God, Turning Red was a fun one. And I mean, they still play Four Town at Disneyland and stuff. Like people love that movie. All right, and then we're gonna move on to the next one, Lightyear. Lightyear is fine. My first instinct is to put it into B for just middle of the road. I think it had a pretty solid story, fun characters, but it's missing something. I would say it's average, straight ball, right down the middle. No shade when I say this, but like it kind of feels like whoever makes the Smurfs movies. It's fine. All right, and then we've got Elemental. Now, Elemental was really good. Being that Lightyear was the last movie that Pixar put out, I didn't have a great taste in my mouth when I went to see Elemental, but I totally loved it. Now, I will say that I watched the entire movie trying to translate it into Avatar: The Last Airbender, as most things do in my mind. So it was a lot of fun imagining the elements crossing over that way. But aside from that, it was just fun to have a love story. I mean, you can see the different things that we've tried out over the past few years. We had one about grief. We had one about your purpose, generational trauma, self-discovery. It's a pretty vast pool that they're pulling from. And this one, they just went a straightforward love story and decided to put in elements of like racism and classism and stuff. And I thought it was really great. I remember walking walking out of this one just feeling like that giddy kind of feeling that, like, you know, when you just watch a good movie, you're just kind of like vibrating, you know? I thought it was awesome. I thought the animation was great. I thought the story was great. The characters were awesome. I'm gonna put that one an A. I really liked Elemental. All right, next one we have is Inside Out 2. Boy, okay, big shoes to fill. Inside Out was and is one of the best Pixar movies to come out. I do think that they pulled it off. This felt like the best case scenario of a sequel. I think it could have been a lot worse. I think they really put a lot of work into making sure that it was good. And what I really like is that it didn't feel like they added new characters just to like sell toys. It felt like it made sense with Riley getting older and becoming more complex. So I felt like the emotions as a narrative device totally fit. I felt like the story that it was telling was great. This was like another coming of age story. And I feel like they used that specific world and its mechanics in a way that told just a great story. It was solid. I'm gonna go ahead and give that an A. Now I will say the first Inside Out would have gotten an S. I'm trying to think of why I don't want to put it in S, but there's something that I can't quite reach. There's something back there that's making me, I didn't vibe with it as much, I guess. If you feel the same way, like Inside Out 1 was better and you can help put into words why you think that, let me know in the comments, because I'd be interested to see what I'm pulling at, because I'm definitely not one to be like, well, it's a sequel, by definition not going to be as good. I don't think that's true. Toy Story 2 is way better than Toy Story 1, but there's something back there that I just can't quite reach. You know, maybe I'll add an addendum later. Make sure to check my Threads account. I'll post it there. All right, and then we've got our last one, Elio. Now this is where I get to talk about Elio. Elio was really, really good. I went into it expecting to just watch a Pixar movie. My girlfriend and I, we went during like a matinee, and I expected it to just be like, cool, we did something fun on the weekend. We got to sit in a movie theater. Like, that's fun, you know? I felt this movie. We were crying. The isolation that it hits on, I feel like they do a really good job at communicating that, especially with the imagery of the Voyager. Like, they really knew what they were doing when they were trying to communicate that. And then finding his connections and everything, and Gordon's arc in himself, and, you know, the fact that Elio, spoilers, went on to actually have like friends at the end. It wasn't just this one thing, this one experience where he connected with somebody, but he found out how to connect with people and, you know, see his own worth even. But I mean, the look was great. Elio is such a cute design. All the aliens were very fun. When you first see the aliens, I kind of thought like, oh man, that doesn't really fit the aesthetic, but I think that's like the point, you know? So once you got that, it's like, oh, this is cool. This is really fun. There were like these slow-mo scenes that I almost felt like were missing frames. Maybe it was the projector we saw it on. That was the one time where the looks kind of felt off, but everything else was just like inspired. I thought it was awesome. But I think that Elio is actually going to be my second S. I definitely walked away from this movie feeling like the same way I did about Luca, like, wow, that was really good. I can't wait to watch it again, blah, blah, blah. So here we have it. Here is our official Superfan Society rating page. I don't know if that was really disjointed, but we've got Luca and Elio at S tier, Soul, Turning Red, Elemental, Inside Out 2 in A, and then Onward and Lightyear in B. Okay, I'm cool with this rating. What do you think about this rating though? Would you change any of these things? I'm very curious to know what would be in your S tier or in your D tier if you had any. I personally didn't think that any of these movies were like so offensive that I put them in below average or like really bad, but did you? I'm very curious to see, and let me know what your S tiers would be too. What were the ones where you're like, bro, this is just mwah, I love it? Put that down in the comments down below. I'm so curious to find out, and I'll be responding to all the comments that are on there. But anyway, super fans, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe. While you're down there, we have a great society of super fans here, and you would look great in it. Make sure to follow me at my socials listed down here to stay updated on everything that I have coming out, participate in polls and quizzes, and even see yourself in a video, question mark. But that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay super.